Hey, what is up, y'all? Thanks for being here. My name is Roman, and today I'm super excited to bring my first ever yo-yo review by none other than Sean Collins. This is his yo-yo, the Autopilot, and it has a ton to offer, both in 1A and 5A aspects, and I want to share those with you. I also want to thank Sean for sending this over for review. He's also part of the Chunkies team, which is super cool. And I have to say, before anything else, Sean is an amazing person. He's super nice, super caring, and super knowledgeable. He's a wealth of knowledge, and it's insane how much he knows and can really talk with a lot of background education within yo-yo and design. Sean's been designing for a long time, and that's actually where this yo-yo is coming from. He and his friend Umi, I hope I don't butcher his name, designed a yo-yo called the Lunar Wind. It only made it to the prototype stage, but this was many years ago in high school. Funding's hard in high school for anything, so I totally understand that. And this yo-yo today, the Autopilot, has some influences from the Lunar Wind. So I want to go ahead and grab my book over here. I'll bring the yo-yo up and we will talk specs really quickly. So first things first, the weight is 65 grams. The width is 43.4 millimeters, diameter of 55.1, and a gap width of 5 millimeters. Now it's 7068 aluminum, which is more on the premium side of things, and I will say the gap is a little wider than usual. And that is inspired, I believe, by Japanese design. I could be wrong on that. I think that's what he texted me. So, yeah, with that wider gap, I want to go ahead and get something out of the way. I don't want to deter you from this yo-yo in any way because it's a great yo-yo in a lot of ways. But you will need thicker string, and thicker string with this yo-yo will be fantastic. But if you're going to use normal string, good luck. You're not going to be able to bind it very easily. Even some fat string like I have Sochi and some other stuff is okay. It will bind, but it's not going to be super snappy. Using XL string or something from Zipline. Zipline has a little bit thicker designs in their boutique string. Will work really great for this yo-yo, and it has worked great for me. And so that's just one thing I want to get out of the way before we get started on the rest of the yo-yo. I also want to say that with something like this, there's a lot of little details that stick out to me and should stick out to you, even though an H shape is an H shape, you know, and we kind of get used to seeing H shapes. You're not going to see cup designs that stick out in this way very often. When you see this cup design, you will know it is the Autopilot. And there's something really cool I have to mention about this. This spike here, when I tried this yo-yo with 1A, I hit the spike first try. And that was just so cool because it spun forever. It was like kind of like a Banshee idea. You know, if you hit that spike on a Banshee, you're going to be in great shape. But there's something really cool about this yo-yo too, and I haven't actually done it, but Sean has told me that you can actually land your finger into the dimple before the spike and climb up the spike. So if you can get a hold of that, that unlocks finger spins in a whole nother way because, yeah, it would create really frictionless finger spins, which is really cool. Rims. The rims are quite beefy. Look at those beefy rims. The cuts in the yo-yo look really cool, and it really aids itself in a perfect finger position to grind. So grinds on this yo-yo were amazing. And so if you're into grinds and doing grind tricks, the finish is not like blasted per se. That I don't think it is. It just feels like a smooth finish. I wouldn't say it's not going to be like a glossy finish. It's kind of in between, which I really like. It's kind of the best of both worlds, because you do get a lot of that nice shine rather than a blurred shine from a blasted finish. So yeah, what's really cool about this yo-yo in 5A is the grip. This locks in to my thumb just absolutely perfectly. So when the 5A grip, you're going to have a nice throw that's going to come back, catch, and it just locks in. When things lock in this way for 5A, it's a huge excitement factor for me. You know, when you're talking about 1A and comfort of yo-yos, people often throw around organics, and you know, when you're catching a yo-yo in the palm of your hand, an organic's going to feel really good. In 5A, an organic does feel good, but what feels even better is when you can catch something that locks your thumb in like that. Because you have the counterweight in your hand, when you have a lock like that, it's quite good. So yeah, I also want to say that if you're playing 1A, the stability is nice, very nice. It can handle a lot of thick string wraps around the bearing because of the wider gap, especially if you do decide to go with fat string, because it's just not going to start binding up on you very easily. The other thing is stability for 5A. I don't know. I'm a little hit or miss with it because I don't do a lot of stuff that makes the yo-yo tilt in either direction. I'm doing a lot of maybe 1 to 2 string wraps around the yo-yo at any given time with 5A. But what I can say is that it's actually pretty light feeling, even though it's over 64 grams, which 64 grams is kind of like my top of what I really like. You can kind of go back into the design idea, right? So if you take the same yo-yo and or the same weight, and you make 2 different yo-yos, 2 different designs, one may feel like a rock and one may feel like a bubble. I tend to lean towards stuff that feels like a bubble, but this does not feel like a rock, so that's really cool. It's also pretty fast when it comes to 1A. You change the direction. The gap's a little smaller than maybe what I like on most things, but so yeah, this yo-yo has a ton to offer and just really cool things to for both the 1A and 5A player. I'm sure you could even play the other forms of yo-yo with it, such as 3A. Could you imagine having 2? That would be kind of cool. I want to talk also about the counterweight options that I chose when trying this yo-yo out and getting to know it a little bit better. So the first thing I thought was Autopilot. Let's get the Chunky's Starship on that guy right there. It just kind of spoke to me, and I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but space, Autopilot, you know, I know the Autopilot stands for like autopilot plane, but you know, I don't know. Next up, the cube. The cube is such a good option because you can carry around a cube and a bunch of different yo-yos and play 1A or 5A pretty easily because you don't need a bead setup. On the Starship, I use 2 beads. This guy I use no beads, but the weight of the yo-yo is a little heavier than I would like for a cube, so you do have to play that factor in. Lastly, I have a special tire groove. And what I mean by special is that it's a special filament. This is actually what Juan over at Chunky's calls the wood filament. And so it's a little bit grippier than most other filaments, but it's also heavier. So I was able to use 1 bead with this yo-yo, and the grip of this counterweight plus the grip of the yo-yo made for a great counterweight play with the yo-yo. And so I just suggest just trying different things out with this yo-yo until you find what really hits the mark for you. And sometimes that takes a while. I don't know if I found the exact love of that I know I will find eventually while I silence my phone. But I know I'll hit it soon, and when I do, it probably will never leave the yo-yo. So yeah, this yo-yo, overall, Sean, you did an amazing job here. I'm so excited for more people to play this yo-yo. If you're looking for a comparison, I will do that too. It reminded me a little bit of the iYoyo Hydra. Now, the Hydra is great playing 1A yo-yo for me. It's kind of a sleeper yo-yo, I think. And it's not like it's the exact shape or anything. It just kind of reminds me of it. I also feel like a lot of people have the recognition. And so with the recognition, it's not the same yo-yo at all, but that gives you kind of an idea of what the yo-yo looks like next to something that you may own. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me here. I will have I probably had some 5A play on top of this footage, so hopefully you enjoyed watching that. And I also just want to thank Sean for sending this over to me. Man, I really appreciate it. I think it's a great yo-yo, and I think that there's so many cool aspects that you thought of that many people maybe wouldn't have. And so that to me stands out as awesome. So anyway, guys, if you're interested in 5A and furthering your journey in 5A, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, and I would love to talk to anybody who leaves a comment, and hopefully you guys just enjoyed this overall. It's my first ever yo-yo review. Please be a little easy and kind on me. I promise I'll get better, and especially if you leave me some critiques, I'm happy to take them into consideration. Again, my name is Roman. I'm sponsored by Chunky's, and I will see you on the next one.